We are live here at Austin Superspeedway, back at the site where the first race of our season, and indeed the first race of this series in general, took place. This is the conclusion of the round of 12 for this year's chase, or as we also know it, the playoffs. As of when this race ends, we will go down from 12 guys who can still win the championship to only 8. Here are your point standings for these current rounds of the playoffs. As you see, Kyle Busch is the only driver currently locked in to the next round, although some drivers like Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch are in a good position to advance, barring nothing goes wrong with their cars today. We see Tony Stewart, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, and Ryan Newman are currently the 4 drivers who would be eliminated, with Ryan Newman and Kyle Larson effectively being in must-win situations. Here are your ones to watch for today's race. We have Ryan Blaney, the pole sitter, who is currently 6 points out of making it to the next round. And as I mentioned earlier, Kyle Busch is the only driver locked into the next round with that win last week. The 31 and 42, as also before mentioned, are in must-win situations, and we have 4 drivers sporting brand new paint schemes that have not seen their liveries in the Cup Series before. Just gonna shout those out for you. Anyways, here they go, rolling off. Here's the starting lineup for today's race. On row 1, we have Ryan Blaney and Casey Kane. On row 2, we have Jamie McMurray and Kyle Larson, Chip Ganassi Racing teammates. Row 3, Casey Mears, Kurt Busch. Row 4, Ty Dillon, Carl Edwards. Row 5, Ryan Newman, Kyle Busch. Row 6, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon, also teammates. Row 7, Bobby Labonzi and Eric Almirola. Row 8, Alex Bowman and Sam Hornish Jr. Row 9, Clint Boyer and Trevor Bain. Row 10, Denny Hamlin and Greg Biffle. Row 11, Austin Dillon and Jeb Burton. Row 12, Kevin Harvick, Landon Castle. Row 13, Matt DiBenedetto and Jimmy Johnson. Row 14, Michael McDowell, Martin Truex Jr. Row 15, Joey Logano and Tony Stewart. Row 16, Danica Patrick and Justin Allgaier. Row 17, Matt Kenseth and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Row 18, Paul Menard and Brad Keselowski. Row 19, David Reagan and AJ Allmendinger. Row 20, Brett Moffitt and Michael Annett. Row 21, David Gilliland and JJ Yaley. And in last place, starting off, row 22, Cole Witt. Here are your keys to the race today. It's 12 laps in duration. This is the elimination race for this round, and there is potential for chaos, as this is the home of the big one, our one and only Superspeedway track. Green flag is out here at Austin. In these next 12 laps, we will find out who advances to the next round and which 4 drivers go home disappointed. As we already have Ryan Blaney going down the middle, Jamie McMurray holding a predominating lead, as he now has Casey Mears going to his inside. Jamie McMurray will lead the first lap, although it looks like they're going to go 4 wide here at Austin, which is sometimes a recipe for disaster, but it looks like they'll so far be able to navigate those waters without too much trouble. So we see leader Casey Mears now getting put down the middle with Dale Earnhardt Jr. taking the lead. You can hear the fans roaring in the background, as always, for him. As we have a spin on the front stretch, Casey Mears, Ryan Blaney. Caution is out. Looks like Mears tried to clear himself, but Ryan Blaney was just in the way. Let's look at the replay and see what happened here. And yes, it looks like Casey Mears tried to drop low. Not entirely sure why he would do that, but Ryan Blaney was most definitely there. That sent Casey Mears into the inside wall, and Ryan Blaney looks like he messed up the front of his car heavily on that grass infield there. So it looks like Casey Mears is going to the garage. Ryan Blaney will try to fix his car, but it will not have been enough of an effort because the front suspension of that car is totally out of whack now, per reports from the team. Now here's your sponsor for today's race, Mauricio Parada. Link to his channel in the description of this video. Alright, we are back and ready to go racing once again. Green flag is out. Once again, here on lap 5 of 12. Kyle Larson being put down the middle now. Dale Jr. trying to go up and block Carl Edwards. Will not be able to make that move though as he goes down the middle too. We have a rare sight now. Bobby Labonte leading this race. As though now it looks like Carl Edwards, with the help of his teammate, has gotten the lead. Big price paid by Kyle Busch though, now as he's going down the middle and dropping as much as like 20-something spots. Oh, Denny Hamlin going around Bobby Labonte with some help from Trevor Bayne and others. So we now have Kurt Busch leading slightly over Carl Edwards. Going to lap 7, we are halfway through this race. Now Denny Hamlin goes down the middle with Carl Edwards. This racing can't keep on going like this, right? Oh, it looks like I was correct. We got the big one on the back stretch. Caution is out. This certainly has some playoff implications. It looks like I have at least like 5 guys in the playoffs right there. Red flag is out. As you can tell by that incident on the backstretch, they won't be able to go anywhere anytime soon. Here's the replay of the incident. Looks like Kyle Busch was the chief instigator of that wreck. As he got into Alex Bowman there in the middle. From there, basically anybody 3 or 4 rows back simply had nowhere to go as Casey Kane came back up the track. It's far back from Alex Bowman all the way back to Greg Biffle and others. Out from this race, Paul Menard and Clint Blair look like they're going to be the only ones who could even possibly finish this race. As it looks like Greg Biffle got on top of Danica Patrick. Nasty incident there. Thankfully, no one appears to have been injured. We see Greg Biffle, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick. All 3 of those drivers now may not make the playoffs, or the next round of said playoffs. Or the chase, depending on which way you look at it. So you see Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski managed to drove it around to the garage, trying to get as many points out of this situation as they could. So we now see the red flag has been lifted. We are back under caution conditions. Here's a good chance to show you our race highlights thus far on lap 1. The race kicked off to what has so far been a relatively chaotic but exciting race. On lap 3 we had the 2-car incident involving Ryan Blaney and Casey Mears. That will definitely knock Ryan Blaney out of the next round now. It will be an elimination for him. And on lap 7 just now we had the big one striking here, as drivers just got too aggressive, push came to shove, and eventually a shove did take out a good 10 or almost 10 cars or so. We have Kurt Busch and Matt DiBenedetto, should I say, on the front row. As it looks like they're already going 3 wide at the beginning here on lap 9. Tensions are definitely rising as this is the only opportunity left this year for some of these drivers to win. So it looks like Denny Hamlin's just going to drop to the back, not wanting to mess up his chances of advancing to the next round. As of right now, it looks like he has a decent chance of doing so. So we have Kurt Busch going down the middle. Trevor Bayne pulling an aggressive block on playoff contender Tony Stewart as we have the onboard here of Trevor Bayne. So it looks like Justin Allgaier is now going to side draft off of the side of Trevor Bayne, going to try to pass him in the corner here. Matt Kenseth, who just missed the playoffs barely this year, right behind him. We had drivers like Jeb Burton and Cole Witt still in contention to win this race. So you know it's a Superspeedway race. We have Trevor Bayne now, still continuing to block Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth. Coming here to the white flag. 1 to go here at Austin Superspeedway. You see Trevor Bayne finally gets outmatched. He's going down the middle. Tony Stewart on the outside looking to punch his way into the next round. Cole Witt and a pair of Roush Fenway racing cars on his inside. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Tony Stewart over Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for the win. What an amazing finish this was. Those two drivers just pulled away at the end as we see Tony Stewart making his successful winners burnout here at Austin. A well-deserved burnout that is indeed. Here's the replay of the final lap. Trevor Bayne eventually just could not make enough blocks. Wound up getting stuck down in the middle. Looks like he still had a decent finish though, all things considered, so that's good for him. Tony Stewart managed to block Cole Witt to the outside, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr. took that advantage to get to his outside. Looks like it was just around a tires leak of an advantage for Tony Stewart. Barely, but even a foot. Going across the line, so we have our official results here. Tony Stewart, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Cole Witt, AJ Allmendinger, and Trevor Bayne are your top 5. Good races for all those drivers. Good points day for them as well. Some guys who did not have a good points day: Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch. Playoff drivers Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, and Greg Biffle all involved. Now let's see who manages to make it to the next round. Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, and Jimmy Johnson are the 8 drivers moving on, while Greg Biffle, Kyle Larson, Ryan Newman, and Ryan Blaney will all be eliminated. We see here it's just the same 8 drivers that advance, tied at 4,000 points going into the next race. As we have the rest of our point standings here now. Ryan Newman, even though he was eliminated, is still 9th best in the point standings, the best of the rest right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr. out to 10th though now with the elimination of 4 more drivers. We have Matt Kenseth and Martin Truex Jr. still leading out of the guys that did not make the chase this year. Further back, Casey Kane, that wreck really hurt his situation. He's now back in 28th place in points, the lowest he's been all season. We have in the final place currently still Alex Bowman behind his part-time teammate of Reagan Smith this year. Congratulations once again to Tony Stewart and his sponsors on winning this race at Austin Superspeedway today. What a chaotic but exciting race this was. Next one will be at Kentucky, and while I can't say it won't be quite as wild as this one, you won't want to miss it. Coming out soon. Thanks for watching this race today. Hope you all have a great rest of this sad day. Come back next time.